Hey guys, Niksstuff here, and today I'm going to be teaching you how to make your 3D models go from this to this. And I'm going to be showing you five approaches, I suppose, that you could use to improve your models. So, number one is to use a lot of reference images. Here's, at the moment, only one since I usually delete mine after I'm done. But here's a Gewehr 43. It has both sides of it. I got this image off of Wikipedia. Places I would recommend you go to are Sketchfab. You could use other 3D models as references, like I'm showing you in the video right now. You could use it to find parts of the gun where you don't really know how it's supposed to look like. You could also search for other websites that have pictures. And overall, it's good to maintain quite a bit of reference images, and don't be afraid to look around. It's gonna take a while. For instance, here you can see textures for this gun. I actually got it from a museum. Sometimes you're also gonna have to maybe go in real life, go somewhere, take pictures of the gun, if you know some place that has one. Yeah, overall, it's good to have quite a lot of reference images. I'm going to be putting up some places that I usually visit on the screen right now, so if you're interested, you can go check that out. Another good thing is to use plugins. There are certain plugins that I really like to use. I like using loop tools. That it makes it relatively easier to create circles. Sometimes that's what I use it for, to convert them. While I'm editing, I convert the part of the cube into a circle. I don't know, you could use this for making a bolt, or you could use this for making a barrel when you want it to be. This is in the same object as the main part of the gun if you're using cubes for starting. Also, a very useful plugin that I almost absolutely use is Auto Mirror. Auto Mirror is a very good plugin. I really recommend it. Both of them are free. Both these plugins are free, and they're available in Blender. There's no external download or anything. Just go to Edit, Preferences, and then search them, and boom, you have them. They're very good. Auto Mirror, as the name suggests, automatically mirrors things for you. It cuts it in half automatically and applies a mirror modifier automatically as well, which is actually a big save of time if you don't want to have to cut everything up yourself. Loop Tools is good for converting certain parts of meshes into other parts of meshes. Like the example that I gave on changing a part of the cube into a circle. And yeah, those are some plugins that I highly recommend. Something that's also good to keep in mind is to always do a little bit of research about the firearm before going to into the modeling process, because it's good to know how certain things work and how certain things don't, I suppose. Whoa, for instance, where's the bolts on the gun, or where does the magazine go? For instance, common misconception is about the Konstruktion 96 or the C96 is that many people think that the magazine is inserted into the big box part, when that's just a housing for the stripper clip and not actually a place to go in the magazine. Where the magazine would actually go there would be in the Schnellfeuer variant, which is a semi-auto version of the gun. Also, you pull it back, well, the little bolt, I suppose you could call it, is on the back of the gun. Sometimes you may not know. Also, quick interruption. If you like this content, please subscribe and consider liking the video and leave a comment down below. It means a lot. Thank you. Back to the know that since there are pictures of the gun closed and open, and it's always good to do research on a gun. Here I have an MP41 as a display in the screen for you guys to see. MP41's a gun utilizing, well, not really utilized, but it was more or less sort of used in World War II. Barely saw any service though. But yeah, it's always good to do research, always good to know what you're doing and know what you're talking about. So, big tip, do some research on the gun, see what you got wrong, what you got right, and change it if you did something wrong. Another very important thing to keep track of is the fact that, at least for a first-person shooter game, which is what the tutorial is kind of made for, you're not going to be seeing every side of the gun. Most of the time, the player is really only going to see the left side of the gun when using hip fire, and probably the top part of the gun when aiming down his sights. So you don't have to go for absolute realism on the right side of the gun, which probably no one is going to see for I don't know, maybe half a second on a reload animation. But that's also something to keep in mind of performance, I suppose you could say. Whenever working on a model for a game, it has to be game ready. It can't be super highly, I don't know, detailed, when most of these details you're probably never going to see. What you could do, however, is put a lot of the details in the textures, or a lot of the details in normal maps, roughness maps, ambient occlusion, specular maps, whatever, and basically put the detail on image files, and then put those image files on top of the 3D model for the gun, because you don't want to take up a lot of space on the thing, on one gun, when probably there's going to be, what, 15, 20 guns on a game. So be very careful on that. The example that I gave on this PPSH-41 here is that the bolt is on the right side of the gun, and there's no, well, real bolt. The only part of the bolt that's there is the one you pull, but really the bolt is not there, and there's no part of the gun that goes in and the physical bolt, rather only the part that you pull. Now for this last one, it's sort of a optional thing, I suppose. If you think that your model isn't looking the best, I would probably only use this for the view model. Like, if an NPC were to have this gun, I would definitely not give him this last part, I suppose, because this last part consists of adding a bevel modifier and then adding a subdivision surface modifier to make the gun have a little bit extra, I don't know, flair, look a little bit more realistic. Although this does add extra geometry and does make the gun heavier. So like I said, what I'd do is I'd add this for the view model, and for any other rendition of the gun, say it would be a pickup model when an NPC dies and he drops the gun, or if a friendly or enemy AI is using this gun, he'd undoubtedly have the version of the gun that does not possess this modifier extension thing to make it more realistic. That is something I would add for the view model only, but keep that last part in your mind. Only for the view model, okay? You don't want to take up fucking, I don't know, a gigabyte just on one gun or something. Obviously, it's over exaggeration. It's obviously not gonna take 1 gigabyte of space, but you get what I mean. You don't want to take a lot of space up with one gun. There's gonna be, what, 25, 30, 15, I don't know, there's gonna be a lot of guns in your game. And not only guns, there's gonna be a lot of 3D models, maps, NPCs, there's also gonna be other things, textures, code, and everything takes memory. So you're gonna obviously want to be add a little bit more detail on the things your player's gonna be constantly staring at all the time, but you don't want to add too much detail to the point where it's useless. So that's what I'd say. Thank you very much for watching. Consider checking out another video. Catch you later.